The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, recording this on Wednesday night, January 25th. Here now with the genius himself, Rob the Genius. Technically his second time on the podcast, although he came on here about 2 years ago with his fellow, mates on the Mindless Wrestling podcast. We're here previewing Royal Rumble and then some. Rob, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how you doing, man? Good to be here.
Can't call it, man. Can't call it. It is, to me, I always consider, even though it is Rumble time, I do consider this time also Mania season, because by Saturday we'll have some sign pointing going on in both the men's and women's Rumble. Yes. And to me, that'll be the official kickoff of Rumble of Mania season anyway. But this is the time of year. I'll say before the show, typically during the fall, it's hard for me to keep up with wrestling on a week-to-week basis, because of the fact that, obviously I'm a football guy, love basketball, baseball too, especially dependent at that point, college football at its highest. So wrestling, you don't have time away from it. You really can't appreciate it as much. So my wrestling content of intake content rather does suffer, other than the big events, of course, pay-per-views and all that. But now the wrestling football's now kind of going on the wayside now, as get down to the church weekend and college is done and all that. Getting some time back now. So now with time being available now, I can now get back into wrestling a little bit more.
Oh, and it's understandable, because look, traditionally, particularly September was always the start of kind of a down part of the year, and that's that was business wide, not just in WWE or whatever.
Yeah.
And then because in the old NWA, things would cool off. They would have a big summer tour. They had the Great American Bash tour in the NWA. Mm-hmm. And then September, things would cool off. And then Thanksgiving, they ran Starrcade. And then all the companies and territories ran a big Christmas Day show. So September, October is always kind of a period where people, start paying less attention. Because look, if you got kids, schools starting, mm-hmm. And like I said, football's back on Monday Night Football. You got college football on Saturday, then the NBA gets going. So there are just more things going around.
Or distractions.
Yeah. And so now, professional wrestling in general, they earn their TV money during the summer more than anything, because that's when they're on and nobody else is.
Yeah. So I would say between Mania season into the summer is where you get, really for the most part, peak wrestling in terms of this, what's the priority and whatnot, because you're right, there's less things to distract you, especially in the summer.
Yeah. And that's why that's why you have SummerSlam, and usually the second most important WWE show of the year. Except the old NWA, they would do the Great American Bash tour during June, July, just kind of take advantage of all of that. But yeah, and then in the WWF and now WWE, there's WrestleMania season, and that's something that was unique to them that other people weren't doing. And so look, WrestleMania season, there are always people. There are people who check back in, who checked out earlier, and they kind of ride with it through WrestleMania, and then depending on how things go, some people stick around, and sometimes they just kind of revert back down to their kind of core audience.
Yeah. Where would you rank Royal Rumble among your favorite? Well, they call it premium live events now, but pay-per-views. yeah. What would you rate that? What would you rate Royal Rumble for you?
It's for me. It's a lot of times it's the most fun, because of the matches themselves, and and seeing people come out and all of that. So I would say second or third usually. If WrestleMania is good, then that's always the best show of the year if it's good, if it's a good one.
Yeah.
SummerSlam is usually there's usually at least some stuff worth watching at SummerSlam.
Right.
Even if the whole show is not necessarily great. Survivor Series can be hit or miss. I mean, there are years where Survivor Series is good start to finish. There are years where it's
I still
crap.
understand. I still understand why Survivor Series has been such a difficult thing to present year to year. Like the name should sell itself. It shouldn't have to be more than it needs to. You could just have a big main event and have a couple of the legacy matches, 5-on-5, and then call it a day.
Yeah, it's weird because like there have been some years recently where they just kind of almost backed themselves into like weird corners, right?
Right.
And it's like this year, they had the War Games matches.
That was fun.
Yeah, and now I think this year things were ripe for just to do something different. Because I think the brand versus brand stuff had kind of run its course.
How long have we been doing it for? Like the brand versus brand thing for a while.
Well, they started for like the first couple of years, it was just like the 5-on-5 matches that were brand. Like the first year, it was just the 5-on-5 matches that were brand versus brand. Then, like I think it was 2017. I think was when they started having like the champion versus champion matches, and that ran through 2021. And it's just like a lot of the matches were booked really weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then something like it just they were. I mean, a lot of the matches were just booked really weird. And then it's just I don't know. I mean, it's there were years where just the show was just not very good at all. And like I think like 2021, you had maybe like one or two matches that were worth watching back.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2018 was like that, and then 2020 they were in like the Thunderdome, and it was just looking back at those shows now, man. It's just it's very there are very few things that really can hold you now watching those Thunderdome shows. It was, I mean, that was tough.
The fact we actually went through it and
Yeah.
watched the product, and it goes to show you pro wrestling, even a fucking pandemic can't stop it.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It found a way, man.
They did. They sure did. And they did. And and looking back, I mean, I'm glad they did, and I'm glad that as much of a risk as it was, thankfully it didn't get. I mean, there were a few breakouts here and there, and a few people that got infected, but thankfully there was nothing totally disastrous that happened, during that whole period there.
Yeah. No, like it's if I say WrestleMania is my favorite show of the year, it's a cop out because it's always the best show of the year because it's always it has the most energy into it. But Rumble is probably my favorite because obviously the concept for starters is fantastic. I love all. I pretty much watch all Rumbles in order on a yearly basis now, just to watch it because I enjoy watching the match itself, whether or not it's a 1988 or 2020, 21. I mean, I love the Rumble in general. So like I said, to me, the Rumble is where I really start to, if I lost a little bit of interest last couple months because of life itself, the Rumble gets you back into it. It gets me charged up again for wrestling, and I'm good for another like 5 or 6 months. Kind of like the gas. It's like kind of putting the gas into the car, and like, okay, good. And I'm good for the next 6 months until football's back, and then I'm a cruise control again until January.
Yeah, and I mean, like, honestly, I mean, I kind of made a vow last year that I wasn't going to struggle watch anymore, because because sometimes it gets to be that way, right? And because for me, like in particular, like on SmackDown, there were just a lot of people. There were people just that were not there, right? And like SmackDown had gotten down to like the Bloodline and like Gunther as far as stuff I was interested in. And so what? I just said, what?
So you actually do skip episodes of SmackDown and Raw once in a while?
Okay. Well, now I always turn it on. Now sometimes, sometimes I pay full attention the whole time. Now there are times where if it's just nothing happening, it's to my interest, then I'll follow along on the timeline, my Twitter timeline, and
right,
and I'll just have the PlayStation on or something. And then if something starts to happen, I think it's worth checking out, I'll switch over to it.
Because I got to the point now where I think, and it kind of hit me actually last summer, where I got to the point where, like, you know, I can still not have to watch every week and be okay with it and actually still know what's going on for the most part. Like, social media's help with that. And the WWE, for the record, they do the best job of any, I mean, obviously the biggest company, but they do a great job of product placement. In other words, they if you miss a Raw, you miss a SmackDown or NXT, we're gonna put up clips on the YouTube, you know, to fill you in. Okay, this was happening for this match and this and that, and this angle and whatnot. So you can always feel like you're still not behind on the product. They do a good job with that.
Yeah, so because they like I said, they put almost every TV segment. They have a clip on highlight clip on the YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Then they do like a top 10 things that happen on each episode, and then they have the show, WWE main event that comes on every week, and they have a couple of matches from inside the arena where Raw was, but then they also recap what happened on Raw and SmackDown in the previous episodes.
Right.
So there are a bunch of different ways to catch up on what happened, and I tell people all the time that, look, if you just want a quick and easy version every week, just watch main event, and because they run through the stuff you need to see.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, that's on it's on Hulu. Yeah, I mean the new episodes are on Hulu every week, and that's a very easy way just to follow it, really.
Right.
Because it's that thing, like, okay, well, they have so many hours of television because they get paid for so
Right.
many hours of television,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can't blame them for taking the money, right? They get
course.
look, TV networks are willing to give them money for 7 hours of live television between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT.
Right.
Can't blame them for taking it. And look, that's why they're expanding the college football playoffs. That's why they expanded the NFL playoffs. That's why
Content's king.
Yeah, that's why we got 17 NFL games now. That's why they're probably never going to shrink the NBA season. It's just what it is. You can't, and so you as a viewer now, you just have to not, like, don't push yourself to watch everything.
No,
because you can't.
I tried that at one point. When I got back to in 2019, I tried that, and I'm like, cool. I could do a couple weeks here and there, but then I noticed I was doing it for the sake of doing it, and it wasn't as enjoyable. Like, why
Oh no,
am I
it
pushing
isn't.
myself to do this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it isn't. And because, like, now I don't watch NXT live every week. I do flat out skip NXT some weeks, and because, like, it's a lot, man. And then if you want to sample some stuff outside of WWE, then that's even more time.
Yeah. And that's why I have a hard time. People say, "Do you watch Impact? Do you watch MLW?" No, I don't. Because I can't fit it in my schedule. It's not that I don't want to watch it. It's that find me the time to do it. I'm also a father and a husband, and I have other priorities and I have other interests and stuff. So it's tough. It's really tough.
I DVR Impact every week, but then I also follow it, on the internet. So if there's a match on the once I see what if I see what happened, if there's a match on the show that I want to watch, then I'll watch that from my DVR. But basically, I follow Impact Wrestling I follow them on basically on the internet, just on the and I've ordered some of their pay-per-views, and looking at by the time, and look, they put out enough information where you can keep up with them also now and be up to breast, on the speed when it's pay-per-view time. So yeah, it's just, there's too much, because I used to watch MLW a bit. I just don't have time to get to it now.
Yeah.
And you just got to accept that. Like, as a fan, you got to stop pushing. Don't push yourself to watch all of this stuff, because we're talking like 15 hours of television a week. I mean, and look, I watch Law and Order. I watch all the Law and Order shows. I watch Abbott Elementary.
Yeah.
I mean, and football and basketball and and then other series on Paramount Plus or HBO Max, right? I mean, just there's so much other. So don't don't force yourself to watch all of this stuff, because you're gonna burn yourself out. You're gonna end up hating it and all of that. Pick and choose. Pick the stuff you want. If there are certain people you want to see, then it's fine to watch them. If there's one show or the other that doesn't really have anybody that does anything for you, just don't watch it.
Yeah, and that's where YouTube to me comes in clutch, is that they place their product so well on there to where you feel like you invest even 20 minutes into all the clips for the one show, you'll be fine. You know what's going on. You're caught up, and there you go.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, let's get to the Rumble preview real quick here. So this is what I have so far. The announced participants so far. Women's Rumble first. So far, the women that have been committed to this thing so far: Liv Morgan, Candice LeRae, Rhea Ripley, Raquel Gonzalez, Shayna Baszler, Zelina Vega, and Emma. So far, the official participants so far in this Rumble. This is what, 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 of the 30. There's more right now, right? I'm sure there's been more announced since then, right?
No, this is what's crazy. They've only announced that's it.
Are we gonna have a lot of surprises and everything?
I guess so. Now the women's roster is the biggest it's ever been,
right?
So which makes it all the more weird that they've only announced these 7 people, these 7 women in this match. So now, I do have the betting odds here.
Okay, what do you got?
And it's funny, and it's funny because this is from Action
Network.
Yeah, I guess so. Because actually we just finished talking about this in the Mindless Wrestling podcast. So all right, so here are the betting odds for the women's Rumble. I'm just going to stick to the people who are actually in the match, because they got some names of people who, because they got Charlotte and Bianca here amongst the odds, and they're both not going to be in the match, obviously.
Right.
So the top 4, top 5 for favorites here. Rhea Ripley has 50% chance of winning. Becky Lynch 23, Raquel Rodriguez 11, and then Bayley and Naomi are both got 9% chance of winning.
To me, Rhea's well, I mean, they said themselves. I was gonna say I was putting Rhea as the ultimate favorite to win this whole thing, because this run, when she came from NXT up to the main roster 2 years ago, a lot of hype for it, and then she went on to against Asuka and Mania, and then it kind of sputtered for a couple months, and then she kind of sputtered, lost the title to Charlotte, and then she got sputtered again. And all of a sudden, this doing this thing here with Judgment Day has revived her career. Like, look, I love her. I liked her as a babyface. Don't get me wrong, but as a heel in this storyline with Dominic and company, it has revived her career. And I think now, if you put the belt on her at some point next year or so, whether it be Mania this year or another event at some point, I think she will actually take this and run with it.
Yeah, and now I think the other thing is now that I'm just basically repeating what I said a little while ago with the guys.
Yeah.
But now, like, she has a clear path towards either title now, because now that Charlotte is a baby face, because look, she and Bianca have interacted a bit, and she still owes Charlotte for beating her in 2021. So she could win this. She could go either way, in either direction. Because at first it would have been pretty much locked in that she would have challenged Bianca, but now, I mean, yeah, she can go. There's a path in either direction, and it wouldn't surprise me either way. Honestly, there's a story to tell both ways. So I think, she is the favorite, and I said number 2.
Becky.
I don't think Becky wins, because I think her and Bayley, they're going to be involved. They're going to be involved in each other's eliminations.
And honestly, right now, and this is out of respect for Becky too, especially. I've come a long way with her now. I don't think she needs the belt right now.
See, I guess, all right. For me, okay. So I guess I'm not a big. Okay, what was this way? I think some people are championship wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they are, and there's no point. There's no point in having them on the show doing other things, right? I think Roman is that now. I think Charlotte is definitely that. I think those two in particular, like they are championship wrestlers. If they are not challenging for or holding one of the championships, then they might as well take a break. It's okay.
Right.
um, and I think, right now, I think Bianca is that right now. Um, and now I think Becky is in a place right now where she can do some stuff without it. And now, of course, the one tricky part about that is if you do too well without it, then you could end up like her husband.
Well, you just getting people over instead of being a champion.
Yeah, I mean, because
but there's a lot of value to that though, and I think at some point that's going to reverse itself. At some point, they're going to put Seth back in the title picture. At some point,
yeah, I think whenever they finally get around to splitting the titles again, then yeah, I think he'll definitely be a part of that.
right?
But as long as Roman is champion and holding both titles, then he's kind of stuck where he is, and that goes for Drew McIntyre. That goes for I mean, I know they've had Bobby go around with the U.S. title, but I mean, that's kind of him to an extent, and even Brock Lesnar, even right. I mean, as long as Roman is in this position and he's continues to do what he's doing, and they keep both titles on him, then
Right.
there are a bunch of guys that just aren't going to get one. So it just depends. I mean, I think she's in a like I think she's in a spot where yeah, she can, as long as you have. Now you got to give her interesting opponents, right? That's the key.
Beyond Bailey, of course.
And this is kind of honestly, this is kind of where we are with, I think, honestly, with the horsewomen in general, and I think even with Bianca to an extent now, is that there isn't as much interest in seeing them just fight anybody, right? Now, I mean, they need bigger opponents just for people to be more interested, because like I don't think, look, I mean, she wrestled Sonya Deville on TV a bunch of times. At this point, I don't think anybody cares, right?
Right.
Honestly, I don't think people care a whole lot about Charlotte wrestling Sonya Deville right now, because Sonya loses all the time, and I mean, I just people don't. I mean, so I think for them now, the tricky part is, yeah, you gotta they need opponents who are on their level,
Right.
to really, for people to be interested in it.
But for that to happen, you got to lift them up too. Well, you got to, well, with Rhea, they've done that, so you can put
Yeah,
Rhea in that conversation now going forward.
yeah, and
You know?
so I think this year is a year that they're going to try to do that with Raquel and try to get her up there.
Yeah, hopefully, because she's another one that should be in that conversation at some point.
Yeah, because remember, because after that WrestleMania, they had Rhea, Raquel, and Bianca standing in the ring together, and then they showed them up on the big screen and all of that.
Yep.
So that's clearly what they're hoping. That's their intent. That's what they want.
So right.
For them, all three of them, to be up on that level. And so this is a year. Yeah, I mean, for Rhea and for Raquel, this is the year. I think if you don't do it this year, then it really looks like they're questioning things. I mean, to me.
So if you're booking the women's match right now, who would you have win this whole thing? And then who would you book to win the women's rumble based on what's going on, and who do you think's going to win it? Two-part question, I guess.
Okay. So, all right, just based on what we have to work with right now as far as information, because I know a lot of people are hoping Naomi comes back in this.
You think it happens?
It could, but look, I'm Mr. Mathematician, right? I count was there. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just point. Look and look, I drive Ray Cash mad sometimes because I make because my arguments are always based in in numbers and what's there and what you can count. So right now we have no idea if she's going to be there or not. So if we have no idea, if you're asking me to make like a official prediction, if we have no idea, if we've been giving no sign or no indication that she may show up there, then you have to assume she's not there.
Right.
So assuming that she's not there, then to me it's Rhea or Raquel. I think Rhea is more. I think she's more positioned to put it this way. I think if Rhea wins, then I think more people will be like, okay, yeah, this makes sense and this is
Right.
fine. Whereas I think if Raquel wins, I think she's not quite there yet, and you're gonna have a whole lot of people being like, really? Um, Even though I think she's a more than capable winner,
Yeah.
but I think they got to do some more with her to kind of get her up to that point where people can see her winning the championship. Right now, she's had some competitive matches with Ronda, and the last one was really good. But yeah, I mean, I think this year they got to try to move her towards being somebody that the general audience sees playing on that level. Because remember, like those of us who are on Twitter all day and are just over analyzing this, that, and everything, we're a small part of the audience. Yes, we are a very vocal part of the audience, but we're a very small part of the audience. And we don't speak for the audience at large.
Right.
And so to the audience at large, presentation matters. For a lot of us on Twitter, we just say, oh, well, so and so was really good in the ring because we watched them in the ring and they know how to do all this stuff in the ring and they're really good in the ring. So they should get the big push, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the general audience, like presentation matters. If you present somebody like a sucker, and then the audience, if you do it enough times,
Mhm.
then it's kind of hard to sell them to the audience as somebody who could, oh, this person could be the champion now. And that doesn't mean I don't mean like losing matches either. I mean, like there are ways to lose matches not look like a sucker.
Right.
Right? But if you lose matches, if you're just going out and you're just getting beat all the time, and then it's kind of hard to. There are people who are just not going to buy it if they try to turn around and make you champion or even a serious contender like overnight.
Right.
So
That makes sense.
I think with Raquel, they got to do something with the presentation to try and to present her as somebody. Because I mean, look, she looks the part. She's big and she's physically imposing and all of that. I mean, it's just you gotta put her in that orbit though, and have her. Although they got to do a little bit more there. So I think what you do with her there in the Rumble, I think you have her get the spot where she just throws out a ton of people, right? And that's something that she can do to get people to notice her.
Right. Right.
And then once you've done that, then you can take that next step towards moving her towards a title match on a big pay-per-view. But they need this is the year. This is kind of a put up or shut up year for her, I think. In that they got to get some type of movement with her towards being somebody who you can put in a title match on a big four pay-per-view and can not just win, but win straight up, right? Not
Yeah.
shenanigans, right? So that if by the end of this year, if that has not happened with her by the end of this year, then I gotta think that somebody is questioning her. If just nothing happens by the end of this year with her.
And this is Raquel we're talking about here.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Now obviously we know with Rhea that yes, they definitely have a good bit of confidence in her.
Yeah.
I think now with Rhea, the biggest thing with her, I think, as far if there is a question, it's just that it's what happens when the Judgment Day thing is over. Because she's doing a great job as part of this group and playing off of Dominic and all of that. And being like getting in the face of dudes and all that, like Solo and she had the match with Tozawa and all that, right? She's doing a very excellent job of that. And so now I think with her, the only question, and I don't even think it's not really a big question. I think but at some point, like she's going to have to kind of be her own person again. And she's going to have to make that work. Now, I think she can. But again, me, I don't count it until it's there.
Right.
So, I think she can, but until she does, to me, it's a question.
Yeah. You still got to see it.
Yeah.
Still got to see it. Still got to see it in action. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think since you and I both on the same page, that Rio is likely going to win this whole thing, and the betting odds are pretty have it pretty much correct on that one. The men's side. Now we said we had 7 on the women's side. You got 15 committed to the men's side already.
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston, Santos Escobar, Ricochet, Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Baron Corbin, Rey Mysterio, Gunther, Cody Rhodes, Omos, Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Braun Strowman, and Karrion Kross. Now, I'll say the same thing I asked you on the women's side. 2-part question. If you're booking this, who wins it? And also who you think will win it?
Okay. So again, going off of the information we have,
There's a lot more information, a lot more sample, bigger sample.
yeah.
50, half of them, half the allotted names have been committed.
Yeah, so out of the people we know for a fact they're going to be in it, I think Cody's the favorite. Cody's the betting favorite, and I think he's out.
Is he a favorite also on there too on the Action Network?
Yes, he. In fact, he's an overwhelming favorite.
70%.
59.88%.
That's pretty big.
Yeah. So out of the people who we know are in the match, if I had to pick somebody out of the people we know who are in the match for sure, if I had to pick somebody to win, I would pick Cody. If I'm booking the show, and okay, if you ask me what would be the best choice if I'm booking the show out of who's in there, I think it would be Cody. Now, if you ask me my personal preference out of who's in the match, it would be Bobby Lashley because I want to see Bobby and Roman. Okay, but that's not happening. Okay. Right. And now to me, the big question on the men's side is, did they get either The Rock or Austin to do this?
Yeah, I saw that report today about they offer Austin a shit ton of money to come to Mania.
Yeah. So now I don't think that they're not getting both of them. I don't think that they're not going to get both of them. If they get one, it's going to be the one and not the other.
But wouldn't The Rock make sense for the Hollywood?
Mania? Oh yeah, it wasn't matter. Look, it's a matter of him wanting to do it or him being able to do it. That's all.
And I kind of feel like the Austin news might be a swerve just to.
Yeah, now because I've been saying for a while. Look, if you see The Rock, if you see him starting to cut weight, that's your sign that he's coming.
Yeah. Have you seen him cut weight?
I haven't. I've seen people post pictures of him on Twitter, but you have no idea. I don't know when those pictures are from.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, because right now the last time I saw him, he's carrying around too much bulk to get through a match. I mean, whereas Austin's actually in better shape to do a wrestling match right now. So I think now the pick I made on the Mindless Wrestling podcast, I went ahead and said Austin's going to do it and he's going to win. But that's because I don't know. I think again, going off of who we know is in the match, I picked Cody. If you're asking me, just if to get a little crazy or to just go on hypotheticals, then I'm going to say Austin. I don't think The Rock is coming because
you're no longer on the Rock's coming to Mania.
Well, okay, I've decided to just think no, and then if it does happen, then
you're really
surprised.
I thought it's a mental gymnastics, a mental swerve there. I like that.
Yeah, well, it's just because I've given up on it pretty much, right? Because I think at this point you shouldn't. I don't think anybody at this point should be just hanging on it because if it doesn't happen, then what? I mean,
you'd be let down.
Yeah, and I think just
you never promised it. You never promised it anyway,
right? And that's the other thing; they never promised it. So, at this point, I would not be hanging on it. And if it happens, it happens. That's fine. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But if number 30 comes and it's just somebody who's already there, who's on TV every week, you should not get pissed off about it, okay? Because they didn't promise you any of these folks. But I think, and look, and a lot of this depends on ultimately what they're doing with Roman, whether or not he's going to win or lose at WrestleMania. because there are different choices you make, right? I think, look, if they offered Austin a bunch of money to come back, then it's obvious that's to wrestle Roman and to lose to Roman. I think.
I don't understand why they bring Austin back for a Roman match. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, because you can't get The Rock, and Austin's up for doing it again because he had a good time last year with Kevin Owens.
I'm saying storyline wise, is it all to beat the Stone Cold Steve Austin to beat the the top guy arguably in history of the company, most popular guy in history of the company? Is that the angle you're using? Because I think the Rock angle is the better one because it goes beyond just that. It goes.
When with The Rock, you got the whole family lineage and all
I'm
that
saying,
stuff.
yeah, all that.
But I think, if you can't get him, and that's the thing. I mean, I think you stand a better chance of getting Austin because Austin, he did it last year. He had a good time, and he's training, and he's definitely up for doing it. I think if you offer him the right match or whatever, he's definitely up for doing it. Whereas with The Rock, he's got schedule, and he's got again, like I said, he's got to cut weight, he's got to do all this stuff. So I think you stand a better chance of getting Austin. And if you want Roman to keep the title and just keep going, then at this point, you're better than get him somebody who you don't have to worry about booking on television the next night.
Right. So Cody wins in your eyes. I think so too. I think Cody wins as well too. And hopefully The Rock shows up. I mean, we're gonna see. We're gonna see how that plays out Saturday. He's been kind of quiet on social media lately, though. We'll say that.
Yeah, and I hope he does too. Because look, I want to see it. Right, I want to see it. I hope he shows up. But I'm not going to hang over it until and keep hoping and keep hoping and keep hoping. At this point, you just got to let it go. Right. And if he shows up, he shows up. And then if he shows up, then we can all mark out and come to tears and all that stuff.
Speaking of Roman, you mentioned Universal title on the line. Well, actually, it is Universal Championship, I guess, on the line. Is it both of them?
He's still defending both at the same time.
Okay, Roman against Kevin Owens. I mean, it's kind of clear that Roman wins this match. The last time they met in Royal Rumble 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. Fantastic match. Other than a one little slip up at the end, but whatever, we won't use that against them. But I'm getting tired of Kevin Owens being used as a prop. Because I mean, as good as the match is going to end up being anyway, there's no way KO's going to win this match. And is KO to be taken serious again as a title contender at some point down the road? He keeps taking these L's like this. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, you're muted. You're muted, actually. There you go. I fix that. They're giving you. Hold on. You need your mic. Let me see if I fix that for you. Hold on 1 second. There you are. There you are.
I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Okay. Look, Roman is retaining the title. Obviously, it's just, does he win the match? Is it a DQ? Is it or something? And see, this is the thing. The best stuff with Roman is the the promo segments and all that stuff on TV now, because we know, if you watch this stuff long enough, you know that he's not going. If he is going to lose the title, it's going to be at WrestleMania. So any other matches before WrestleMania, he's not losing the title. And so this match really is just about whatever happens with Sami Zayn in the storyline at the end of the match.
Right.
Which, like I said, look, I think Roman and Kevin will have a great match, but look, when the War Games, I zoned out of the match until like the last couple of minutes, and because that match was all about the storyline and how it was going to play into the finish. That's what we got here, and so yes, they will have a great match. But for me, I'm focused entirely on how it's going to end and how the storyline is going to continue. So I guess I'm not that I'm not that hyped up for the match itself. I'm hyped up for the last 5 minutes of it.
Mm-hmm.
And how it's going to end and how Sammy's going to be involved in all of that. That's which is kind of a shame, because again, they'll have a great match. They've had Roman and Kevin have had a bunch of great matches. And but again, I mean, I think at this point, yeah, I mean, it's hard to take Kevin seriously against Roman Reigns as far as winning. Um, it just is. So we'll see how that plays out in the building. That on
Yeah.
Saturday.
How about this one? The Raw Women's Championship, Bianca Belair against Alexa Bliss. I imagine Bianca's going to win this match no matter what. I mean, they made. I'll tell you what though, they made Alexa look strong. Even though I had an issue with, you know, look, Alexa's really small.
Yeah,
Alexa Bianca. There's no way in hell in a real street fight she's even trying to mess with Bianca.
yeah,
But they've done a decent job at making it semi believable. You do some props here and there and whatnot, and I don't know.
yeah. So just, I mean, with this, it depends on how far they go into the spooky stuff, right?
Right.
Because if it ends up being just a traditional wrestling match, then I can't see Alexa having any chance of winning.
Right.
Because they did this kind of thing with her and Charlotte back in 2021. They had for about a month, they were doing little segments, and it got a little spooky. But then when they had the match was just a match, and I mean, it was good, but it was a match. There wasn't any spooky stuff going on during the match, and it is kind of hard to buy Alexa in these matches because she had one with Oscar a couple of years ago when she was in the full blown spooky girl gimmick. And again, that was the only way it looked like she had any chance against Oscar. And this is, I mean, that's the only thing that's making it, just giving her a chance here, really.
Right.
So I do think Bianca retains the title here because having to do the thing where Bianca loses the title and then wins it back at WrestleMania, we've done that 2 years in a row. Well, she didn't. The first year she was winning it for the first time, but last year she won it back. And having her win a title at WrestleMania for the third year in a row is now we're getting into like super redundancy here. So I think she keeps the title here. I think this WrestleMania, she either needs to successfully defend the title because she hasn't done that. She hasn't defended a title at WrestleMania yet. So
Yeah.
this year, she should be defending the title at WrestleMania, and whether she keeps it or not, I think you're fine either way. But this year, you need to have a different story for her than trying to win a title.
You know what the story is though. Turn her heel.
I I just
You don't want to see it.
well, I mean, you
She's a good heel.
could,
I
but
mean, there is she did NXT, and when I first saw her NXT, she was a heel, and she did it magnificently, actually.
I just to me, okay, so she's literally all American girls, and she has and all of that, and um, like she's like the one baby face woman who is like who hasn't shown any heelish side or tendencies or what have you. Um, like somebody has to be that, right? I mean,
That's Bailey.
you got to have somebody do that, right? Because I mean, Bailey was that, but she's a heel now, and I mean, Charlotte is a baby face right now, but
For now, Charlotte ain't gonna stay baby. Come on, man. And I know you love her, but Charlotte is not
no,
a
and
your
no,
clean
and
cut. She is not. She's a heel. She's her dad. She's dad's daughter, man.
I know, and look, she's going to end up, she's definitely going to end up back there.
Yeah,
Um, I don't
as she
know.
should be.
It's a matter of when, and I mean, because look, I think they did the baby face thing because look, basically they needed to take the belt off of Ronda,
Right.
and so they needed somebody on Ronda's level and somebody who was a baby face on Ronda's level, and so they need. I mean, it was either do that with her or they would have to just bring Becky over there to do it, right? And so that's kind of what this is, and so I guess the question is, are they going to actually try to do something and commit and give her like an actual good babyface storyline, or is this just a thing they're going to do for now and then flip her back? I just hope. Look, okay, we know they're going to flip her back. I just want look. look, put a story behind it. Okay, like give her, have some things happen that have her revert to her usual ways. Don't just have don't have her turn on a dime, right? That's all I ask, right? Just have some type of story that results in her reverting to her usual ways.
Yeah, right. Last match here, and it's the hold on, I just lost the here it is. It's a pitch black match between Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. If I'm not mistaken, this is Bray Wyatt's first official match back, right?
Yeah, he's worked on a couple of house shows, but like as far as like and yes, an actual match that people are seeing on televised match. Yes, this is his first one.
I've seen a lot of LA Knight like ads on Twitter lately.
Yeah, yeah, he's been doing like some ads for like the Pitch Black Mountain Dew or whatever.
Okay.
Honestly, for me, look, the Bray Wyatt stuff is not for me.
Ever or just this last run here?
Lately, this stuff here, this is just, and again, I'm not going to crap on it because I know some people are really digging it. So, but it's not for me. It's that's not my deal. Now I do like. Actually, LA Knight is the one that has gotten my interest in this whole thing because I really love what he's doing on the mic. But again, like I said, look, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna knock this stuff with breaks. I know some people really dig it. It's not my thing, man. Like, look, I like the swamp leader, cult leader Bray from his early days in the roster. That's probably my favorite version of him.
Mine too.
Because like the Fiend stuff just got too out of hand and too kind of like overpowered, and it got too out of hand for me. And this is just a little too, I don't know. It seems kind of, to me, it seems a little kind of directionless almost. Like okay, well, there's him, and then there's Uncle Howdy, and Uncle Howdy makes him do things. Then Uncle Howdy attacked him, and then Uncle Howdy's over here with Alexa Bliss, but she's swearing up and down that she's not being controlled by Uncle Howdy, and I'm just kind of like, okay, what are we doing here? I don't know. I don't know. It's, I
Yeah.
mean, and again, look, and I'm not going to, if somebody's really digging this, I'm not going to argue with them. But for me, it's just like I'm just like, okay, what are we doing?
I mean, Bray gets a win here, obviously, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, yes. I can't see how he doesn't win this year. I mean, if he doesn't win this year, then again, like, what are we
What are we
doing?
doing? Right. What's the point of doing this? I mean, but I will say, like, I always thought LA Knight would be a great, main roster heel. Like, he has kind of that, Ted DiBiase, Rick Rude kind of vibe in terms of just the getting real good heat on you, on him rather, in a way, and you kind of believe it, but if you're someone's a wrestling fan, you respect it. Like,
Yeah.
I like him. I love him in NXT, and I thought he was great. And I think, him in the main roster, he has that kind of that Baron Corbin feel to him a little bit too, where like he's like you can only see him as a heel, and that's it.
Yeah. And I think he's in, no, look, I don't have him fantasy booked for a world title or anything like that.
Yeah, it doesn't really need
But
it, to be honest with you.
no, and well, I think he's perfect as like a mid card
Yeah.
heel who can come out there and talk.
There's a lot of value in that, man. Honestly, if you look like
There
the
is, and
late '80s, that Rick Rude, perfect, and those guys dominating in that role.
yeah, and you need some people who you can do that with because kind of like, well, at least the internet wrestling community kind of mentality towards way too many people. It's like world title or bust.
No, you don't need that, man. And
No.
that's kind of where the WWF actually suffered in the mid '90s because they didn't have that. They had HBK, Diesel, Bret Hart, and Owen, and then once you down to below that, it's like, okay, it's this bunch of Duke Joseph Joses and
Yeah.
it's like you need those mid card guys to firm up your roster. It rounds out well. In late '80s, early '90s, they did that well.
Yeah, and I guess, and And look, I think the fan base, the general fan base at large, like the people who are not, terminally online, I think they'll love that stuff because I've been at house shows and Baron Corbin has gotten booed out of the building. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like the general audience, the people who are not again terminally online, I think they get that. But the way the IWC is like if they like you, then they want you in the main event. And if they don't like you, then they don't want you on the show at all. Right.
Right.
And there's just no, if somebody they like gets put into a good mid card heel spot, then they consider that to be them being misused or whatever. Um, and so, but I think that's a great place for him to be. I think he can do some really great stuff there. Um, and I think he's somebody that, yeah, I think that's the right place for him. And look, he's done a really great job particularly on the mic since he's been there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to keep him afloat for the rest his time there.
Yeah, I'm with you there. All right, one more thing we get you out of here. And I know you covered this on your podcast, covered this on this show as well too. This week, Rolling Stone magazine. This is also a pivot off of wrestling now. Rolling Stone magazine recently released their top 200 singers list, which caused a stir from a bunch of people with different fan bases across the planet. I'll keep it simple here for you. What and I don't know if you saw the entire list. I don't know if you covered the entire list, but what stood out to you as egregious to you?
Okay.
On that list.
Because here's what they do with these lists, right? So the top 10. Now we won't run through the top 10 is very reasonable.
Yeah.
And because they were smart about that, but they make these lists. They make these lists to get people talking and to and all of that, and to get people talking and to get. So you have to make just some picks that are just like, what the hell are y'all doing? Right. And,
shock value clickbait picks.
Yes. So I'm going through here and I see, all right,
I'll tell you right now, off the top of my head, Freddie Mercury at 14 is egregious.
You think
Freddie Mercury at 14 should be much higher than that. Like I'm number one personally, but if he's not in the top 10, that's a problem.
Yeah, and now I guess it's one of those things though. But who do you take out of the top 10?
Beyonce. Goodbye.
Yes, yeah, that's fair. But okay, so I'm all right. So because I know Taylor Swift was too damn high. First
she was
of all,
what 99.
Because I'm trying to find her now because
she was like in the 90s, isn't she?
I think she might have been, or she was in like the high 100s. All right, so and it's just. All right.
This is why I want to know exactly what was the stipulation? What was the
well, because what they do to try to give themselves some cover, like they don't just have their writers come up with this. They go talk to people, like they talk to artists and they talk right, and then they tally up a bunch of stuff, right, and then you can't say that. Well, it's just a bunch of cranky writers who don't know what they're doing. Here it is. Taylor Swift is 102.
Okay. That feels kind of high, to be honest with you.
Yes. Now here's some people she's ahead of. She's ahead of. I'm going to try to stick to people that people listening might actually know. All right, she's ahead of Aaron Neville.
What?
Aaron Neville is 104.
She had Alicia Keys and all that. Was it
Eddie Vedder is 105. That's ridiculous. I don't know where you put Eddie Vedder, but he should not be behind Taylor Swift.
Right.
Bill Withers is 106. Bill Withers should not be behind Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is ahead of Lou Reed. Roger Daltrey. I mean,
wow,
this is getting ridiculous. Fiona Apple, Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, Ozzy's not like a great singer.
He shouldn't be in 200. He shouldn't be in the top 200. Be real. I'm a metalhead, so I'll tell you that.
She's ahead of Erykah Badu.
Wow.
She's ahead of John Fogerty. Jackie Wilson. Good Lord. Donna Summer. Good God. Karen Carpenter. She's ahead of all of these people. She's ahead. Taylor Swift is ahead of all of these people that I'm scrolling through here. Okay. Donny Hathaway. Tammy Wynette, Rob Halford, Courtney Love, Jeff Buckley, Loretta Lynn. Taylor Swift was ahead of all of these people. Axl Rose, Lauryn Hill,
That's
Elder
egregious.
Barge, Merle Haggard, Bono. And look, I'm the U2 fanatic.
Right.
Okay. And look, and yes, Rolling Stone very often overrates and oversells a lot of U2 stuff.
They
And
do.
I admit that. Okay. Bono at 140 is egregiously low. Okay. That is bad. Now, look, Bono should not be in the top 10. He should not be 140. He should be in the top 100. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Again, not saying he should be number 10 or in the top 10. He should be in the top half of the list, though. He should be in the top 100. I'd put him in top 50 at least.
I mean, again, the biggest crock is the fact that Celine Dion not even on the fucking list.
Right. Oh,
that's the worst one.
Yes, and Christina Aguilera is at 141. She's
what?
Yes. So yes, Taylor Swift is ahead of all of these people. Okay, this is
should be in top 25 at least. The very least 25.
And look, and so we know they put Taylor Swift, and they did it perfectly. They put her in the middle. They put her at 102, right? Because they put her in the middle because they know if they put her in the top 10, people would burn the Rolling Stone building to the ground, right?
Which probably should.
But because she's in the middle, she's behind a whole lot of obvious people, right? So you can kind of play with it a little bit, but she's ahead of all of these other people, and it's just ridiculous. And they did that entirely. That was done for just trolling purposes. Yeah, that was done. That's all it was done. But that was 100% done for traffic purposes and to piss people like us off, so that we would be having this conversation now.
Right. So I'm the Michael Jackson fanatic here. They had him 86.
And that's ludicrous. Like,
that's fucking ridiculous.
And it's funny, like, okay, I don't know how I would really grade Michael as a singer, because like he doesn't, I mean, he didn't do those big vocal runs like Mariah Carey.
As a kid.
You're right. You know what? You're absolutely right. When he was a kid, he did do that. You're right. But I think he's got to be higher than 86. Come on, man. I mean, and like Prince is another guy. Like, I don't know how.
Way too high. 16, I think it was, right? Prince?
So
16, 17. Way too high. Love
Prince.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan.
I think, like, I never considered Prince to be like a great
I'm saying,
singer.
Like, Michael is a better singer than Prince, is natural singer than Prince. And how's he at 86 if we have him at 17 or 16?
Yeah.
That makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, exactly. And it's I mean, Prince is ahead of Adele. I mean, and Nina Simone. I mean, what are we doing here?
So my wife can't stand Prince. You know, we fight about it all the time, but she loves Adele, and she doesn't know that Prince is ahead of Adele. If I tell her this right now, she's gonna lose her shit.
Oh man, because yeah, and because with Prince, it's like it was the whole experience,
right?
And like they got Aaliyah at 40, and
it's a little too high though. My opinion.
Yeah.
Aaliyah's great. No, it's not knock on her. It's just that 40 is way too high.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I don't see how you can have Aaliyah ahead of Michael Jackson. I mean, come on.
No.
You know, and I mean, it's no, look, I mean, the higher you get, like, they got, okay, Luther is 31.
Way too low.
Yeah, Shaka Khan is 29.
Way too low.
Yeah, Mahalia Jackson's 28.
Yeah, low.
Dolly Parton 27. I mean, these are just, and they're all, Paul McCartney's 26. They're all better than singers than Paul McCartney. Come on, now.
Paul McCartney's great, but he's not in a top 30 singer.
No, and like that, Mary J. Blige is 25. She's another one. Like, Mary J. Blige does the Mary J. Blige thing outstanding.
Including the dancing too.
I mean, but again, like, she does, you know, she does the Mary J. Blige thing great.
Let's get it crunk on man.
Yeah. But as far as, I mean, I don't know. You know, and then like, the higher you get now, it's harder and harder to figure out where to put people. Like Marvin Gaye is 20. I mean, yeah, Marvin Gaye should be higher, but then now it's a question of who are you moving out?
Yeah.
Like, okay, Elvis is 17 and Prince is 16. Elvis not a great singer. Elvis, no, look, I'm not an Elvis hater.
I actually like Elvis. I think people. I mean, obviously, all given you write his own music, whatever. But as a pure talent, he's a very talented guy.
Yes. Bob Dylan. Nah, I hate Bob Dylan singing. Okay, they got
He shouldn't be in top 200. I'm sorry.
I can't. I mean, man.
I'd rather have Johnny Cash there.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, Freddie Mercury's 14.
That's what's egregious. That's one of the worst ones.
Yeah, no, actually, I love Johnny Cash's singing voice.
I do too.
I hate Bob Dylan's. Like, okay, I got John Lennon at 12. Come on, please.
God, he's not, dude.
No,
he wasn't even the best singer in his own band.
I mean, come on, good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then
like Paul should be ahead of John Lennon. I love John Lennon actually. Paul McCartney should be ahead of John Lennon. Let's be real.
I mean, yeah. So all right, and then once you get to the top 10, like Little Richard's 11. And see, like the only person I could see taking out of their top, like they got Beyonce at 8.
No, Beyonce should be in top 20. Let's be clear about that.
Right.
Beyonce is a fantastic vocalist, but I don't know if put her in top 10.
Yeah, that's a little tricky. Yeah. Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder is like all-time outstanding musician.
Top 20 singer, I'll give him
top
that.
20.
And I'm a Stevie diehard for the record. For the record.
Yeah,
I'm a Stevie diehard.
So top 20, yes. Number 7. I think 7's a bit high for Stevie Wonder as a singer, not as a musician. Ray Charles is 6. Not going to fight anybody on that.
You got the right one, baby.
Right. Mariah Carey's number 5.
She's top 10. She's got to be top 10.
Yes. Billie Holiday is number 4.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah, I'm not going to fight. Yeah. Sam Cooke, number 3.
I personally would have swapped 1 and 2 personally, but because I think Whitney has a more diverse voice than Aretha. But I'm not gonna stand on that hill.
No, yeah, exactly. And Whitney, to me, like Whitney elevated a lot of mediocre songs, in my opinion. Like,
yeah,
a lot of they gave her because they were trying to sell her to quote unquote middle America and all of
Clive
that.
Davis, man, Clive Davis.
Yeah, I know. Yep, and so they gave her. I mean, but she made, I'm trying to think of like a equivalent, like putting like, Wilt Chamberlain on a team full of scrubs.
Right.
And, Wilt get you to the playoffs. In his prime, even with a team full of scrubs, he get you to the playoffs.
Shit, use LeBron. Gives LeBron James an example.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what it is, right? I mean, she took some mediocre material and made it sound just outstanding.
Yeah.
And if anybody else had been given those songs, we'd have been like, "Oh, this is shit."
Yep. Agreed.
But yeah, she's number 2 and Aretha's number 1. Again, to me, look, you can flip coin.
Oh, where was Barbara Streisand? Was she on the list at all?
But
she should be. Barbara Streisand should be in the top 10.
Like, and again, they did it on purpose. They did it to piss people off. But even, if you want to put her on the list, okay, fine. Put her at like 199 or something, okay. But again, no Celine Dion. I mean, like, what are we doing? And I'm not even a Celine Dion fan, really. I'm not.
I like her.
I recognize the woman can sing.
How about another egregious one I just saw here?
Oops.
Barbara Streisand, 147.
Oh, I'm sorry. I turned my volume down by accident. I didn't hear you.
Okay. Barbara Streisand, 147. That's egregious.
And again, I'm not a Barbara Streisand fan.
Right.
But again, yes, the woman is I recognize that she can sing. Yes. Michael Stipe, 152. I'm a big REM guy.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Stipe should not be behind Taylor Swift. No.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you put Michael Stipe, but he should not be behind Taylor Swift. Okay. Um,
I think I'm gonna do a podcast with my wife also on this at some point because she's a vocalist too, and she's like her and I for years have always talked about singers and all that, and she loves Streisand. She tries it to her as like her top 3 or 4 singers, male or female, all time. She doesn't know this list yet. I'm gonna tell her this tonight when I see her. She's gonna lose her shit.
oh yeah, man, oh man. And like you almost have to applaud the audacity,
Yeah, really, you really do.
and
You really
because
do.
they went because they put her smack dab in the middle of the list so that she's behind all of these obvious people, but then she's ahead of all of these obvious people, and it's just like, what are we doing? And again, I mean, I'm looking through and I don't think Alicia Keys is a great singer. At least she belts out the notes and all, and sometimes she's just kind of all over the place.
Yeah, she's
But
a little
I
overrated.
I think she's better at singing than Taylor Swift. However,
Yeah, totally with you on that one.
um, and yeah, I'm the biggest YouTube mark you probably ever meet, and it pisses me off that they
I don't
abandon
know,
that
man.
note.
I like one of my friends. My friends. I know are pretty diehard themselves. Like they travel to see him all the time. I mean, you definitely one, but I know my buddies, Jack and um, his son also, Jr. They yeah, Jack comes on the podcast once in a while too. They're pretty diehard YouTube fans.
Yeah, I go whenever they come around here. I go, yeah. So
Yeah,
I've been to like 3 or 4
right.
YouTube concerts, and when
They're bucket list for me. Actually, a bucket list show for me. They put some great. I heard they put some great shows.
oh they do, man. Oh, they are one of the yes, they are excellent to see in person, and even like I said, even if you're not a fan, I would say go see them in person if you get a chance. And because
Yeah,
for me, um, man, I was supposed to go see Foo Fighters last year, and then Taylor
yeah, me
Hawkins
too.
passed. Yeah, and so that meant that they were on my list. Yeah, I still want to see. I haven't seen. It's a Green Day. Got to see them. I got to see. I haven't seen Chili Peppers yet. Yeah, those are both. I got to see all of them.
Peppers came out here last year. I missed them. Missed
Yeah,
them in August last year.
I think that they were around here last year too, and I think I missed them too. And now I've been to saw Santana. Santana's great, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I've seen went to see the Black Keys a couple of times, and I don't know if you're familiar with them,
No, I
but
know they are. I know they are.
oh, they're great to see in person, man. And I've seen John Mayer. John Mayer is outstanding guitar player, man.
My wife saw him a couple of years ago. She didn't really enjoy it. Thought he was boring. And she's pretty well. I guess she's pretty critical at times of things. You know.
I mean, he's not the greatest singer in the world, but I mean, just like when he has those moments where he just goes to town on the guitar, man, it's really special stuff, man.
What would you say the best concert you gone to?
Man, I so let me run through the ones I've been to. Probably one of the U2 shows.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and they're my personal favorite.
Right.
But out of the ones I've gone to, because let me see, I've been to see my first ever concert was Lisa and Cult Jam with Full
Oh
Force.
hell yeah!
Okay, that was my first, like back in the '80s, man. Um, um,
Ooh, baby.
yeah, Lisa, that was a special experience.
No, that's my shit though, man. That's my era too, though. You know what
Hell
I mean?
yeah,
So,
man. So yeah, I'd probably say one of the U2 shows is probably the best one I've been to because like they do, because they don't, they got all the special effects going on and everything,
mhm.
and like the Edge, like it's funny because it's like he's like as far as like adding like sound effects to the guitar, like that's his thing, and because like I've seen like some videos of him just like breaking down how he plays the songs, and I mean, he's a perfectly fine guitarist, on his own. But where he really just gets into it is when he starts, adding the effects and everything to it. But then, when you see them live, he'll do stuff with that. Then they'll play some stuff acoustic, and then they'll do some covers, and it's they'll run through the whole, they'll run through, of course, their catalog of hits and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say probably one of those is And
You see how many times you seen him live?
let me see, 1, 2, like 4 times. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I'd say the best one when they did the Joshua Tree anniversary concert tour. That was the best one because they played that album all the way through, and then
Right.
they played a bunch of their other hits, and that was, I mean, they went for like 2 hours straight, man, and it was
That's awesome.
yeah.
No, so I saw Michael Jackson to his last show actually in New York.
That's one of my regrets, not seeing him or Prince. So,
2001, yeah, Prince too. I had planned on seeing Prince actually in that same year he passed away. Saw Michael 2001, actually his last concert, right before 9/11 in New York City, literally 24 hours for 9/11, in fact. Metallica I've seen 4 times. My favorite band in the whole world, Metallica. I've seen 4 times, but the best shows that I've seen of them was the first one I saw them in '97 when I stuck at the House of Coliseum at 16 years old. I'm a metalhead though, so Lamb of God is one of my favorite bands to see live. I've seen them like 8 times.
right.
Lamb of God, Seven Dust is another band I love. I've seen like 8 to 10 times at least. What else? Any other like modern like artists I've seen? A lot of the shows I've seen in the last like 20 something years has been bands mostly.
Yeah, because see, I mean, honestly, to me, like the best stuff to go hear live is the band.
Of course, absolutely, without question.
I'd rather, I mean,
the energy is it's incredible.
Yeah, man, it is, and just the interplay between the singer and the guitarist and the drummer and all that stuff. I've been to a few rap shows, and rap concerts are just, I mean, the good ones can be really good, but it can be feast or famine going to a rap show because when it's bad, it's really bad.
That's for sure.
But I saw actually when I was in college, Tribe and De La Soul did a show together, and they didn't. Unfortunately, it wasn't long, so they didn't really get into all their stuff. But they were both really good. I saw Brand Nubian, and their example of when they were just kind of okay. I mean, I saw Far Side. They came out there.
How was that? I heard they're pretty good live.
They are, they are. And this was around the time, like their first album, when
like,
they
mid-90s.
Like Passing Me By and all that stuff.
Well, next time you're on the podcast, I'm gonna have you because like we were gonna do because we got into a conversation on Twitter last week about top MCs.
Yeah,
and Rolling Stone fucked up their end of the music list. Vibe and Billboard, a combination, I guess, combining here to do top 50 MCs all time, and they haven't revealed the top 20 yet.
Yeah.
So I thought they revealed the entire list, but they've gotten to like 30 or 20 now. So once they get to the top, the last 20 and reveal, we'll come back on the show and we'll debate that because I mean, I will say maybe they'll get it more right than Rolling Stone. I feel like Billboard and Vibe at least Vibe anyway, has a little more credibility about what the things they print and whatnot. Maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe I got aged out of that era. I know Vibe used to be really good back in the day. And today everything's about clickbait now. And
that's because look, my rap wheelhouse ends in like the early to mid 2000s.
That's me also too. I think the only rapper I think I've ever really got into invest. I can't even say invested in the last 15 years is probably Kendrick Lamar. That's it.
So I tried. I listened. And I was like, okay, yes, this guy is really good. But I just, I honestly, I can't really just any of the newer stuff. Even if I listen to them, like, okay, they're really good. I can't commit. I mean, like I listened to one of the Meg Thee Stallion albums, and I was like, well, damn, she's really good at this. But I mean, it's just, I've listened to Kendrick, I've listened to her, And it's just like, okay, yeah, they're really good, but you know, I'd rather put on 36 Chambers again. You know,
Yeah.
I'm kind of at that point, right?
No, I look, I love hip hop, and growing up with, of course, I don't think I consider myself a die-hard hip hop fan because hip hop for me always shared space. Even before I got into rock music, it always shared space with pop music and R&B and um whatnot. I don't think I ever actually attended a hip hop show either. I mean, the closest I probably was when I went to a Linkin Park show with that Korn opened for them along with Snoop Dogg and Cypress Hill.
Oh, okay. Because me, when I was in college, they booked a few, like, there were a few, you know, they booked a few acts to come to like this kind of festival thing we had
Mm-hmm.
and so that's where I saw Brand Nubian and Far Side and Tribe and De La Soul. That's where I saw them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've never actually like paid money to go to a rap concert myself, and I don't think I will because, like I said, it's feast or famine too much, man. And a bad rap concert is just like, oh, what is this shit? Even if
Yeah.
you like the group even if you like the rapper or the group or whatever, if it's bad, it's really bad.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I never really wanted to go rap shows because like I don't know if I would enjoy it because I'm a guy that I feel for. I'm a musician, so I feel for real music, real like real instruments. Going to a rock show is more my thing because it's real music, it's real guitar, it's real drums, it's real energy. You know what I'm saying? It's not synthesized. It's actually coming from something that's a little more, well, a lot more real, if you will. So
yeah. And because I mean, a rap concert, it really comes down to like how much the rapper is committed to being a stage performer. And you got some of those guys, they just stand up on there and hold a mic and rap. And it's like, what do you be doing? You
yeah,
know, right? I
you,
mean,
see, you can't get you're not the Drake and shit, aren't you?
yeah, I mean, so like Big Daddy Kane, you watch Big Daddy Kane
Mm-hmm.
performs,
Yeah,
right? And as much as people shit on Hammer, Hammer put on a show for your
bro,
ass.
I love Hammer back in the day, man.
Hell yeah. Like, I mean, as much as people shit on Hammer for not,
Let's
say
get it started.
like, okay, Hammer put on a show, man. Okay, and your money was much better spent going to see Hammer than somebody who might have been a better rapper. Okay, you know,
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Yeah,
yeah.
it's tough.
So, yeah, I mean, rap concerts are they're just so hit or miss, as far as how good or bad they might be. So I've never been in a hurry to go see one.
No, I have no like I said, I actually respect Drake though. I will say because whether or not we like the music or not, he's been consistent. He's been the biggest star of the genre in the last dare say 15 years. And he has been consistent. He's given his fans what they wanted, and for what he does, and as catchy as he is, he's doing his damn thing. Now, I'm not a fan of the stuff. I mean, I like a couple songs here and there randomly. It's okay. I like a random song here, but will I buy a Drake record? No. you know,
Yeah,
I wouldn't go out my way to do that. I wouldn't even go out my way to listen to music. Really, if something dropped my lap and I heard it, it's like, oh, not a bad song, but I'm not gonna invest the time into it because I think maybe it's age now for me because as I get older, I don't really have the bandwidth to want to bring in something new. So I rather just stick to my what is I guess older and the
oh,
things I do
yeah,
love. The things I do love, I'm just gonna stick with it. I'm good.
yeah.
If I
Because
might,
like I've been on I've for the past few months I've been on like a real Wu Tang kick again.
really.
Yeah, and so I mean, yeah, so I've been playing the hell out of that like the past few months.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I remember when it first came out in the '90s, man. I remember being, "What the hell is this? This is awesome.
yeah. I
This is
mean,
this is
because man,
different." The
it was
vibe
just
was
so out
different.
there, man.
Yeah, I remember saying like my brother got into it heavily too. Like back then, my little brother was like heavily hip hop, and he would listen to like the Dissect Chambers and the Jizza and the
Oh yeah,
RZA and then Raekwon about the Raekwon record back in '95, and it was like, oh my god, this is fantastic. This is great. you know,
yeah, man, and well, because look, that's originally where I took the name Genius from.
Really?
Yes, he was my favorite member of the group.
Whoa! The more we learn.
Yeah. And now, I mean, I've applied it more now because I'm Mr. Math nerd and all of
Mr.
that
Math
stuff.
nerd.
But originally, that's where I took it from originally.
Yeah. One more thing we got you. I'll get you out in a second. Your Washington Commanders.
I'm hoping they sell. First priority is to sell the damn team. Get
Things
signed
have
around.
been quiet though, man. Maybe it's going to happen soon.
I hope so. That is first priority. Second one is we got to settle this quarterback thing, and I do not like Taylor Heineke. People in this
I
town,
don't mind him, but he's not your future.
no, because look, that man can't throw the ball consistently more than 10 yards down the field. All right, and like I don't know if you've actually watched any of their entire games.
I have.
Okay, well then,
I picked on going to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, and but see, people here they fell in love with him because he's not Carson Wentz, which that happens here a lot, right? If the starting quarterback struggles at all, people here fall. They love the backup quarterback in Washington, even if he's not that good. And so they fell in love with Heineke, and Heineke is very limited. You can't get so far with him, so he's not the answer. Wentz is cooked. I mean,
he's done. Yeah, I'm off the wagon. By the way, I was one of the bigger Wentz apologists even after leaving Philadelphia, even after getting knocked by the Colts last year, saying that okay, Wentz will turn it around because we saw the good of Wentz in Philadelphia when he was good.
Yeah,
I figured okay, he has a little more in the tank. We'll figure it out. Change the scenery. After this year, I'm done. I've cleaned my hands on Carson Wentz. I'm good. I'm done.
He's cooked.
He's cooked.
So we got the kid Howell.
Sam Howell.
He played good in the one game, but it's just one game.
Beat the Cowboys.
Yeah. So for me, out of the veteran names who are out there, if I had to pick one of those, I'd rather if they just got to get one of those veteran guys, I'd rather be Derek Carr. I don't want Brady here. I don't want Aaron Rodgers here.
No, Rodgers really?
Well, it's just he's just too he's too weird, man.
Just drama.
Yeah, it's just man. I just
that I agree with. He's a little dramatic.
Yeah, and I just I'm just I don't care for that. And plus Derek Carr's younger than Rodgers, and so out of the veterans that they've talked about, the names that get thrown around, if I had to pick one, I'd say Derek Carr, and then I'd have Howell back him up, and then Wentz and Heineke, they can hit the road. I mean,
sound like a frustrated Washington fan.
Because all right, I mean, man, look, there was a civil war here over RG3 and Kirk Cousins. All right,
I remember that.
It was bad, and the local radio guys all turned against RG3. So every day it was just RG3 bashing every day on the radio, and they were all propping up Kirk Cousins as if he was the greatest thing ever. And it's
he's all right.
He puts up numbers, but then on 3rd and 10, he throws the ball 7 yards. Either that, or he throws just some egregiously bad interception where you're just like, "What, dude? What the hell were you doing?" And he does it at the most inopportune time, and yet people, people here loved him to death because he was not RG3. And it was it was those are.
How did RG sour so much in Washington? But it was because of injuries. It wasn't even his fault. How do you sour so much in Washington so fast?
Because one, he was all he he carried himself like he was a superstar, which he was at first, and then people rallied. So there are people here who didn't like that, and so they wanted to give Kirk Cousins a chance because Kirk is all Mr. All Shucks, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then he got hurt, and basically Mike Shanahan ran a PR campaign on him and won. Basically, Mike Shanahan, because they still talk to Mike Shanahan here,
right?
And They still talk to Jay, and Jay Gruden ran a PR campaign on him and won. And they still talk to Jay Gruden here. And basically what happened is those guys, they ran to the local radio and the local media, and they ran a PR campaign on him. And he didn't talk to the local media. He would always talk to the national media guys.
Right.
So the local media guys were always pissed off at him from the beginning because he didn't talk to them. But Shanahan talked to them and Jay Gruden talked to them. So they picked a side. And so they turned every weapon they had on him. And Mike Shanahan convinced all these people that, oh no, I couldn't take him out of the game. He's RG3. I couldn't take him out of the game. And it's like, dude, you tell anybody who will listen to you that you're Mike fucking Shanahan. Any other time. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Shanahan is one of those, he's one of those, do you know who I am kind of people. Any other time. So please don't tell me that you could not take him out of the game when he could not. See, now you're getting me started. All right.
We'll end it right there, man.
Okay.
I can see the frustration right there.
Brother, that man could not plant his feet to throw the ball. You should have taken him out of the game. If he got pissed off at you, whatever. Okay. And Mike didn't want to draft him, but Dan Snyder wanted him. Okay, fine. Then quit. Okay. If you're that dead set against drafting the guy and the owner insists on drafting him, then you should walk. But he didn't walk because he wanted his $5 million. So fuck you, Mike Shanahan.
Let me
to this day.
Let me close on this. Would you take Lamar Jackson?
I would tell Lamar Jackson, don't come here.
That's how we end it right there.
Okay.
Rob, good job coming on the pod as always, man. Plug what you want to plug, man.
Okay. So as always, every week I'm on the Mindless Wrestling podcast with DJ and Jason. I have my own podcast that I do, the Rob the Genius podcast, and now I've done like a little offshoot of that called Wrestling with Data. If you're a wrestling fan and you're interested in numbers, you can look on my regular podcast feed and you will see some episodes marked Wrestling with Data. I've done the first one. It's about TV ratings. So check me out in those places, and you can find me on Twitter at RBONNE1. Just don't try to start arguing with me because I do not argue with people on the internet anymore.
Do you block folks?
Very quickly.
Great job, Rob, as always, man.
Well, thank you, man.